Hi there, traders. This is Brad Gilbert with FX Market Insight for Thursday, the 30th of April. All right, as we head into almost like the last day of the week, May Day, Friday. I know most of Europe's off, so there should be pretty quiet markets. But now the dollar down is the main news. Dollar down is chance of more Fed easing, antivirus drug trial. You know what? I think there's that alone is enough to suggest that, with all the easing, plus everything's coming out of lockdown, I think we're going to see the dollar really take a hit to the downside. I still think it's got a fair way to go. But the general news here now, the coronavirus lockdown hits German retail sales. Okay, one of the headlines here. Well, it's going to hit everything, all countries, right? So don't think that the Eurozone or Germany's out there by itself. And one thing that I was just having a look through various news aspects, and this is something to think about potential opportunities going forward. We've seen oil take a massive hit, but as these lockdowns start to roll back out, okay, people are going to start using fuel a lot more. So I think we could see a real big surge in fuel, and this is where I was reading this article here. Oil surges 10% amid early signs of recovery. I think that could go a lot further, but still, it's, I don't think we're going to see any sort of levels up around $60, but back in the 20s is definitely on the cards. All right, now let's just have a look at the major currency pairs. Now, some interesting moves following the Fed. Obviously, they've just confirmed what they're doing. Now, a few traders are sort of saying, and I'll show you the daily trade routine in a second. This isn't rocket science, right? There's very clear short-term trending markets at the moment. That's why it's very easy to call which way the direction is going. So don't think I'm some sort of I guess I am an expert after 30 years of trading, but I'm not doing this by myself. It's quite easy, right? You can see exactly what's happening. And this is getting back to good market trading conditions, right? A lot of traders have switched off because of the erratic markets. You know what? Being systematic with your analysis, you would have spotted this probably end of the last week where the market started to trend. And this is where we're starting to see some really good trading opportunities around these trending markets. So don't just turn off the markets and think everything's just too hard. Now, coming into the daily trade routine, looking at the active pairs. Now, this is what I was sort of coming back towards. This is where a few questions. Now, dollar yen has gone back into like a very clear trend down. I like the idea of selling rallies. Now, let me just explain something. Once again, I've had a few questions around the preference. Now, if you're not long Aussie or you haven't been long Aussie, well, the preference is to buy dips. So the preference is basically for traders who don't actually currently have any positions. This is what we're looking for. Now, most traders that I've been speaking to are either long Aussie, have been short dollar CAD, or long sterling, and quite a few are starting to get short dollar yen. So that's the idea of this. Okay, these pairs here in the active list have very clear direction. So what we're looking for is the currencies to keep moving in that direction. So even when it comes back and rallies back, like the dollar yen, well, the overall trend is down and momentum is down. So it's going to find a lot of resistance at those levels. At the moment, it's at 106.80. So I hope that explains a few things there. Now, to me, today's best trade setup, well, it was a bit of a hard pick because I really like the Aussies. Looks like it's got a lot of room to move. But dollar yen, bit of an Ichiban strategy here on the charts. You've got the cloud and the trend line sort of coalescing. It looks like a pretty good setup to me, getting short on a rally. Fed's out of the way. I know we've got the ECB and out today, but I can't see any major shakedown in dollar yen on the back of that. Now, just talking about that, so once again, like why didn't euro and dollar Swiss move? Well, we've got the ECB meeting today, right? We're going to see they're going to show us their hand, tell us what their plan is, and et cetera, et cetera. So of course, I didn't expect these pairs to move yesterday or after the Fed. Now, support here is a little bit dicey. I mean, the chart, if I can just get back over to that, it's, I tell you what, it's looking a little bit tricky for euro. Well, it depends on where you're sort of drawing your support from. But, I I've got it sort of around here 108.50, but all we're doing is moving from high to high to high. Like it's just trading sideways. And when you get these sort of conditions, it's pretty hard to sort of work out exactly where support and resistance is. Now, it's actually quite ironic because the chart has just sort of popped up here. You know, we've had some the retail sales figures out. If I can just shrink that up, what you generally get is, I can just, hang on, I've just got to come back and share the screen there. The what you usually get when you get a situation where, there's my thing, when you get the range really contracting, you usually get a break either side. This is where I was sort of saying, well, is support around 108.50 or not? Well, it's a bit of a tricky one because all you get is, so basically we've just had this spike to the top side. I wouldn't be surprised to see a spike down to the downside ahead of the ECB. We see movement here, and then you're sort of back at the same levels. It just takes out the short-term, really weak stop losses both sides of the market. So don't think really Euro has substantial support and resistance at the moment because it's sort of almost just been grinding through those levels. So the obviously the key component to today is going to be the ECB, followed by the press conference. Keep an eye on this. We saw the dollar just continue lower after the Fed. You've got to think the Euro's got to go down on the back end of the ECB. Okay, weak Fed, weak ECB. What does the Euro do? May not go anywhere. Okay, and that could be the end result. Primarily the two big central banks pretty much just doing what they can and trying not to say too much. They don't want to scare the market. They don't want to sort of give it the wrong idea. So that's exactly where we are. To me, the pairs that you want to be focusing on are these ones. They have clear direction. You're either looking for a continuation of those directions or a bit of a retracement to get into the trade again. And I think that's where the cashola is at the moment. Well, it has been all week. All right, guys, that's it from me. Have a good trade day. Cheerio.